Hello, I'm Aubrey Shepherd. It's the 15th of December 2014, and there's a cold front coming in, and we'll see some photos here. A lot of migrating birds were hitting the city this afternoon. Wreaths across America, that's our whole topic on this show, if you're interested. And these are people showing up for the wreath ceremony. People go and wreaths are brought in from far away by trucks from Walmart and trucks from another local transport company. This year was added to that. And somebody estimated officially that there were about 2,000 people on hand for this. There was no way for me to get an aerial photograph, and I didn't think to hold up my camera on a tripod, but I made a lot of video of everything that went on there. And if you see the video, you'll get to hear the speeches. And they were different every year, and it was interesting. The only thing disappointing, the Regional National Cemetery Improvement Corporation wasn't mentioned this year. And that's, of course, the organization that a lot of us are members of, support, and its job is to raise money to enlarge the National Cemetery. The government does not provide money to enlarge the cemetery. The Veterans Administration has funding to maintain the cemetery. So they're nicely mowed, they're nicely trimmed, and the litter's picked up, cleaned up regularly, and they're beautiful. I blurred out that Vietnam jacket that guy was wearing there, trying to improve it a little bit so it didn't look so good. But anyway, I didn't get one of these T-shirts, but I noticed they must have handed those out when people signed up to actually hand out or put the wreaths out. And they had plenty of people to do that work, but there are 7,000 plus graves in the Fayetteville National Cemetery going back to the end of the Civil War. And there are veterans, a few veterans, I believe, that were actually veterans of earlier wars buried in these cemeteries. And you just see the variety of people, Boy Scouts, plenty of those, plenty of veterans from a bunch of different wars going back to World War II on hand. And a lot of people with cameras, thank goodness. I wasn't the only one trying to get it. And as I said, I've got video on YouTube in 3 or 4 parts, maybe 5 possibly, because of having to stop for battery change and things like that. But at least, I believe 2 TV stations came out and covered some of it this year. And that's always great. But I really want to emphasize, now there you see in that picture 2 officers right in the center, one looking up at the other, of the RNCIC. And just didn't have a speaker representing RNCIC this year, so that's why I'm talking about it too much. Yeah, there's president of Regional National Cemetery Improvement Corporation, and he spoke last year quite well and pointed out to people what the group does and how important it is to join and donate any way you can. Same group that sponsors the annual 5K run from the cemetery, and that's a fundraiser. This is a view of a parcel of land looking west from Government Avenue that is the most recent acquisition of the Regional National Cemetery Corporation. So it'll be part of the cemetery one of these days. And there's a story of how this wreath thing got started and some of the speakers listed and so forth. But anyway, until next time, it's Aubrey Shepherd asking you to do your part to help keep the water clean, the air pure, and the woods green. See ya. Hello, I'm Aubrey Shepherd on the 18th of December 2014. First, I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year ahead of time. This is from 2006, and these guys are pouring concrete in South Duncan Avenue. And this is just one of the many examples of streets that have been torn up over and over and over, including that same strip there in 2014. Here's the Environmental Action Committee. Angela Wisely left in the photo. She's leaving after this month's meeting. It was a couple of days ago. And the others are still part of it. And we see a city coordinator of education on recycling at left. And here's another lady at right who's leaving the committee this month. So I haven't met the new people. But anyway, the coordinator of environmental education at left in the blue sweater was showing us all the new handouts she has and talked about all the programs to try to get people to increase the amount they recycle. And that's a tough thing because a lot of people simply don't care or understand the value. This little boy was sitting in front of me in city council meeting, and I didn't have a good view of the whole scene, so I made a couple of pictures of him and other people around me, like this wonderful professional TV person who kept moving around. There's a guy that was a lawyer for Walmart, I think, there, and he's speaking to some of these young men that he was coaching, I guess, on period. He was coaching them on how to testify about their belief in the need for this proposed Walmart on Martin Luther King Boulevard. It was up for discussion, and these two men, the closest and the one at right, are archivists, they are historians, and they were talking about the value of that neighborhood along the Trail of Tears and the old Civil War road and so forth, and trying to explain why it should be protected possibly. And here are some more examples of blocked streets and repaving efforts. And you see those brick pavers in the street there? That's on Dixon at St. Charles Avenue by the post office and Colliers and so forth. And it's being dug up apparently to put in some kind of new pipes for the development down or to the north there. And here's a car. The street's been blocked in different ways for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's getting to be months and months. And you see the things are torn up. See how those pavers are all broken. And I hope the contractor included that in the price of getting the ones that'll match again, because I never thought that was a great idea to use the pavers, but then when they were all put in, they all looked the same and seemed to make sense, but then you come and there's another repaving job to be done. So this is another example of how development sites seem to spill over into adjacent streets and sometimes onto other people's property. But anyhow, that's part of what we got on. That's going on in December 2014, and it's called progress by many folks, and it's just called inconvenience by people who are going down Dixon Street or in particular to the post office. And every day there for a while seems like there's a little different way you have to be routed around this area where they're working. So this has been going on for years, and it'll be going on for the rest of everybody else's life in Fayetteville, I suspect. And that was an earlier photo from that street work, just to the, well, you can see it from here, from the north. So right now it's moved up, or when these pictures were made, it moved up to Dixon Street itself, and that intersection was blocked off. Anyhow, these are hardships for the average person. Minor hardships, we hope, to most people, unless you have a difficult time walking to get in there, or irritated, just plain irritated by all the changes constantly going on that are loud and so forth. Until next time, this Aubrey Shepherd asks you to do your part to keep the water clean, the air pure, and the woods green, and enjoy